is the Investor Connect podcast program. This is Hall T. Martin. I'm the host of the show, in which we interview angel investors, venture capital, private equity, family offices, and many other investor groups for startups and growth companies. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for joining us. Well, hello, this is Hall Martin with Investor Connect. Joining us today is Joy Schoffler of Distinctive Edge Partners, a communications, marketing, and event management company across the aerospace and defense industry. Joy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Hall. It's an honor to be here.
Great. Well, tell us more about Distinctive Edge Partners.
Yeah, so we are, as you mentioned, we focus primarily across aerospace and defense, working with communications, marketing, event management. And one of the things that we've seen happen here in the last couple of years is a lot of technology firms have started to explore working with the federal government as a new customer base. So we work with a lot of more traditional technology companies that are looking to break into this space. And so I'm just so excited to meet with you today and, just share like some of the opportunities and share some stuff about working with the government that people may not know, as well as some opportunities.
Well, let's explore the aerospace and defense industry. And can you tell us about what you see coming up in that sector?
Yeah, no, great question. So one of the things that's happening is there's more money going into modernization for our infrastructure, our systems, just modernization in general. Anybody who's been to a government website knows that, a lot of times it doesn't feel like it works as efficiently as a lot of the other, even banking or other areas that fintech has revolutionized. And so much of what's happening now across the federal government is they're looking for new solutions from the private sector to help them just improve systems. And that's good for all of the US citizens who live here to have a more modern and effective government. So it's a really exciting time, not only for people who are more traditional government contractors, but for, technology companies to be able to diversify customer bases and look at some pretty cool opportunities.
When was the last time they modernized systems? It seems like it's been some time.
So there is, I think there's always been modernization going on slowly. But over the last couple of years, we've really seen a lot of investment go into, different ways to modernize infrastructure to, protect us, make sure the lights are kept on in the event of, cyber attacks or different things happening. And then, just all the processes that are made more efficient in the private sector through modernization, the government is making a lot of large investments in there as well.
And how big is this modernization effort? What's the size or scale of it?
So there's more money going into modernization of the U.S. government now than any time since the New Deal. So it's on that scale. It's a huge opportunity for companies.
And great. And so what is the opportunity for companies to be a part of that? Where do you see the opportunities alive in the short term?
Yeah, so one of the things that we're doing to connect entrepreneurs, and this is great for investors as well who have portfolio companies that are maybe looking to diversify customer bases. One of the opportunities is we're doing a demo competition, and instead of spending a ton of time and energy going through the traditional bid process, what we're doing is allowing people to record a 5-minute video that kind of talks through the story arc of how their technology could impact different areas of the government. So we've got categories across AI, quantum, energy and storage, cyber and sensors, space. And then we have a wild card category if your company does not necessarily fit in. The judges of that competition are mainly coming from across all the different branches, from Air Force, Army, Navy. We don't have any Marines yet, but I'm sure we'll add one or two in there, as well as people who are experts across the SBIR field, Department of Energy, other organizations. So what we're doing is really giving a chance for companies, both established primes who have new technology innovations that they want to share, all the way through innovative, cool startups that are looking to be able to just share how their technology applies. And then the two finalists who will be down selected will compete live on stage at a private event held in Austin during South by Southwest.
Great. And so, what are some of the applications we will see come out of this effort?
Yeah. So one really great one that has applied is a company called Hypergiant, which is an Austin favorite. And Hypergiant started out all commercial and was successful in the commercial sphere, but ended up going and applying for an SBIR through the Air Force to bring their data decision making platform to the federal government. They got an SBIR, which is a non-dilutive capital grant that essentially enables companies to get paid to build a technology, a prototype for the government, implement it, test it. And then that went so well that the Air Force expanded that into a $61 million contract, which was a huge growth opportunity for Hypergiant. So that's just one success story. We've heard so many different success stories along the way. And there's so many opportunities from, not only demo competitions like ours, but, at South by Southwest this year, Army Futures Command has just signed on to be the title sponsor at South by for the official South by event. There are tons of people from all the different branches who are coming into town. There's something called the Office of Strategic Capital through the Pentagon. And what that is it basically is if you've got a technology that could help the government and you're VC backed, they will do a matching non-dilutive capital grant for companies up to $1 million of non-dilutive capital that can be used for companies who are contracted and working with the government. So the amount of opportunities for technology companies, is immense. And it's just something, this is our country, we all live here. So it's great to be able to contribute to it. But there's also so many ways to, commercialize and really grow your company as well.
So, for those developers out there, startups that are used to dealing with the private industry, what should they expect when they go into the government space and the aerospace industry? How is it the same or different?
Yeah, great question. So, there is, as we all know, there's more red tape to go through the process. And a lot of it is about building relationships. So I know the Investor Connect audience is global and you've got listeners from everywhere. But being in Austin, there is a huge presence of the federal community here. And so Capital Factory is kind of the center of gravity for the aerospace and defense industry here in Austin. It has become almost like a separate, it's a big tech innovation hub for the federal community. And so we have representatives from NavalX is opening up an office here. Army Futures Command is here. AFWorks is here. During South by, DARPA will have a large presence, the Office of Secretary of Defense. So there is so many people who want to meet startups and help them get plugged in the right places. DIU is one example of that, the Defense Innovation Unit. And their whole mission is to be able to be that bridge from the traditional technology community looking for solutions for all the different branches of the government. So there's just so many different opportunities and people who are really willing to help. Kevin Lantrope here in Austin is a fantastic resource. He's got a company that consults on SBIRs and how to get companies kind of through that pipeline. Capital Factory does stuff all the time. So there's just lots of different ways for companies to plug in and be told where to go and how to get there.
Well, I noticed in the government, they use both grants as well as contracts. What are the differences between the two?
Yeah, so a grant is a grant. It's basically the government paying you to customize your technology to their needs. So there's something called an SBIR, which enables smaller companies to be able to start working with the government. So there's programs just specifically for companies that haven't worked with the government yet. And when I say smaller companies, you could be, you could be a $20 million a year company and you can still qualify for these SBIRs. So, depending upon the particular requirements. So the definition of small, definitely varies from what you think of as a startup entrepreneur, but there's opportunities for startup entrepreneurs there too. I know a gentleman who they had a data analytics platform and it was two entrepreneurs and they received a $75,000 SBIR just to work with the government to see, could they help solve a problem the government has? So there's really immense opportunities for companies that are looking to develop relationships.
Well, great. Well, you mentioned several technologies a moment ago, AI being one of the hotter ones. AI is still very new, but where do you think the early wins might come for AI in this space?
Yeah. So, at the end of the day, AI only works with data. You have to have data to feed, to build the models. Everything comes back to data. So, regardless of, how one thinks about the government and AI, at the end of the day, if we don't implement solutions to really streamline data collection and processing to glean the insights, we're never going to get anywhere with AI without the data piece being in place and being built first. And so, Hypergiant, for example, they're a huge data decision making technology company. Those kind of firms will do really well. And that's data from everything from data visualization tools to Autonomize here in town. They've got a great AI data solution for the healthcare industry. We're just seeing so many phenomenal AI driven companies in our demo application for the space and defense showcase and reception that we're doing. Lots of great AI companies.
Well, the government's always been on the cutting edge of great new technologies. And I guess one of the upcoming ones is quantum. We've been hearing about that quite a bit. What can you tell us about quantum and where that might fit in?
Yeah, so we have a quantum sciences category as well for the Space and Defense Showcase and Ignite Awards. So that's another one where a lot of different government agencies, especially DARPA, is looking for new innovations and technologies to be able to, advance computing power and make things flow better. So that's another category of the competition as well.
Well, that's great. Well, tell us more about Distinctive Edge Partners. What exactly are you guys doing here in the aerospace and defense space? What's coming up for you guys?
Yeah, so we are communications, marketing, and events management strictly for the aerospace and defense community, including technology companies who are looking to break into that space and being able to kind of speak to the government in their own words. Our team brings expertise from Lockheed Martin, L3 Harris, lots of different branches. I am I'm a former Army officer in the reserves. So, get to bring kind of a little bit of my passion, although most of my career was spent in the investment and fund management sector, as you know, Hall. So it's we really built a team of experts within the aerospace and defense industry to be able to help people frame and kind of communicate properly to the government. And then from an events management perspective, so much of building relationships, as in any industry, is, getting to know the right people, making sure that you're connected with and talking to the people who matter for what you're doing. So we run a lot of events, including the Space and Defense Innovation Showcase and Ignite Awards. We also are running a space event during South by for L3 Harris. We're doing quite a bit and have done quite a bit across the cybersecurity sphere, especially as it relates to defense. So our mission is to really kind of connect people and to make sure that the right people are in the room together to be able to create new relationships and opportunities, which is why we're so excited about this demo competition. Applications are running through January 10th. And so it's just a quick 5-minute video, really telling your story of innovation. Production quality is not taken into account. So you can break out your iPhone, do a Zoom recording where you're showing how your technology could help, record yourself, do a little screen share to demo the tech. But at the end of the day, it's really about speaking to the government customers and showcasing like, how can you make an impact? And it's really your marketers and the business executives' opportunity to tell that to a wide base of potential government buyers and people who are in charge of innovation.
And what's the best source for startups to look up to learn more about the government needs and their concerns and care abouts? Is there a particular website or resource that stands out?
Yeah, there's so many great ones. There's organizations like Army X Tech that have competitions going on all the time. If you're local in Austin, go to the Capital Factory 100%. Look at their events. They had so many fantastic ones to connect the entrepreneurial community. There's just a lot of support, especially in Austin, for these communities. But there's a lot of resources online as well where you can just learn. There's so many people who are willing to help and teach people here. If you're an AI company, there's a website called Tradewinds Marketplace. And Tradewinds, you just upload a 5-minute video as well, following their script prompt. And that will go into a solutions marketplace that basically is available to the entire federal government, that showcases how these different technologies can be applicable. So it's kind of like they'll do queries there to see, okay, what sort of technologies and solutions could fit this particular problem set. And it's a tremendous, tremendous free resource.
That's great. So how best for listeners to get back in touch with you?
Yeah. So to apply to demo, go to sdireception.com. There's applications open through January 10th. So please do go on, apply. It only takes 5 minutes to submit a video. There's no application fee. So it costs you nothing but 5 minutes of your time and a really short application to be able to apply to see if this is something, if there's a way to bring your technology to that community. And like I said, this isn't just for emerging startups. We've got an SME enterprise category as well. So if you're a more established company and are looking for, new markets for your tech, please, do a little quick demo video. We'd love to see your technology. We're going to be promoting these companies throughout the month and would just love to have your listeners apply.
Great. Well, I want to thank you for joining us today and hope to have you back for a follow-up soon. We'll include your contact details in the show notes. Appreciate your taking time.
Thank you, Hall. Appreciate being here.
Investor Connect helps investors interested in startup funding. In this podcast series, experienced investors share their experience and advice. You can learn more at investorconnect.org. Hall T. Martin is the director of Investor Connect, which is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to the education of investors for early-stage funding. All opinions expressed by Hall and podcast guests are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinion of Investor Connect. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon as a basis for investment decisions.